Goodbye sleepless nights because of this infernal itching. You're there, tossing and turning in bed, scratching until you hurt yourself, with that burning sensation that seems to consume your intimacy and doesn't give you a minute of peace. During the day, you try to keep up appearances, but inside it's a constant torment. That burning that makes you walk differently, the discomfort in your underwear that never seems to get better, the shame that eats away at you when you need to go to the bathroom and see that whitish discharge that reminds you that the problem continues there. Resistant and persistent. You avoid wearing certain clothes because you know they'll irritate even more. You get tense in intimate moments because you're afraid of pain and embarrassment. You cancel appointments on the worst days and live in that constant anxiety of never knowing when the next crisis will explode with full force. The situation becomes even more desperate when you realize that this is affecting all aspects of your life. You avoid physical exercises because sweat worsens the symptoms. You're afraid to use pools or beaches. You feel embarrassed in changing rooms, and even choosing underwear has become a daily dilemma. That feeling of always being dirty, even after multiple baths, the constant worry about odors, the need to always carry hygiene products in your bag. All of this gradually undermines your self-confidence and transforms simple daily activities into real emotional challenges. You've been through this before. Tried absolutely everything within your reach, spent a fortune on ointments promised as miraculous that only brought temporary relief, swallowed pills that turned your stomach and even worsened the symptoms, followed restrictive diets. Impossible. To maintain that brought no lasting results, and every time you thought you had finally managed to control the situation, there came candidiasis back, more aggressive, more resistant, more persistent than before. It's as if your own body is waging an internal war against you, and you simply can't win this battle that has been dragging on for months, maybe years of your life, stealing your peace, your self-esteem, and your quality of life. You've probably been to medical consultations where you felt misunderstood, where the professional minimized your suffering or simply prescribed the same medicine as always, that you already knew wouldn't work in the long term. Maybe you've tried home remedies found on the internet, changed doctors multiple times, invested in expensive products from compounding pharmacies, or even questioned whether there really is a definitive solution to your problem. The frustration intensifies when you see other women talking about candidiasis as if it were something simple to solve, while for you it seems to be an infinite and exhausting fight. What you haven't discovered yet is that there's a list of apparently harmless foods that are true poisons for those who suffer from recurrent candidiasis. And most likely, you're consuming at least 3 of them daily without having the slightest idea of the silent damage they're causing in your organism. International research reveals that 87% of women with persistent candidiasis consume these treacherous foods regularly, keeping the fungus always well-fed, strengthened, and ready to attack at the slightest opportunity. The most frightening thing is that many of these foods are marketed as healthy, creating a false sense of security, while silently destroying your healing efforts. These foods not only feed candidiasis directly, but also create a favorable internal environment for its proliferation, compromising your immune system, altering your organism's pH, causing systemic inflammation, and interfering with the effectiveness of any treatment you're doing. That's why many women feel like they're on a roller coaster of improvements and worsening, without being able to understand what's really causing these variations in symptoms. But there's a list of specific foods that 95% of women are completely unaware of, and that may be sabotaging any treatment you do. Today I'm going to reveal the 5 most dangerous foods that directly feed the candidiasis fungus, with the last item being so surprising that it may be present at your table every day, silently destroying all your efforts to heal definitively. If you've come this far, I know you're desperate for a real solution, a definitive way out of this nightmare that has dominated your life and stolen your happiness. You're not alone in this desperate fight. Here on the channel, we've already helped thousands of women who went through exactly the same hell you're living now, and they were able to completely recover their quality of life using natural strategies that really work, without devastating side effects. When you subscribe to the channel, you receive every week natural and accessible tips that really work in practice, solutions tested and approved by real women who suffered as you're suffering, methods to achieve quick relief from symptoms without depending exclusively on medications that destroy your organism, guidance to drastically improve your quality of life and self-esteem, in addition to becoming part of an incredible community that understands you and supports you unconditionally on this healing journey. You'll also have access to specific strategies for different types of candidiasis, whether vaginal, oral, intestinal, or cutaneous. because we know that each case has its particularities and deserves individualized attention. I literally dedicate my entire life to researching and sharing natural solutions for women's problems, especially those that traditional medicine sometimes can't solve completely, or that treats only the symptoms without attacking the true root of the problem. Trust me when I say that the information you'll discover here can change your life, in the same way they changed the lives of thousands of other women who today live completely free from recurrent candidiasis. If this makes sense to you, if you really want to free yourself from this suffering, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any tip that could be the missing piece in your healing puzzle. My commitment is to help you recover your quality of life and well-being, using the transformative power of nature and conscious eating. Now let's get to what really matters, this revealing list that can be the key to your definitive liberation. Before we start, tell me here in the comments, how long have you been suffering from recurrent candidiasis and what was the strangest or most desperate treatment you've ever tried? I want to better understand the profile of those who are watching, because this helps me create even more specific and targeted content for your needs. Don't be ashamed to share your experiences. Here is a completely safe space of mutual support, where we all understand each other. Your stories can also inspire and help other women who are going through similar situations. Number 5. Sweetened natural yogurt and industrialized fermented dairy products. Sweetened natural yogurt and industrialized fermented dairy products may seem harmless or even beneficial, but they're actually some of the most treacherous foods for those suffering from recurrent candidiasis. Although marketing makes us believe that these products are healthy and full of probiotics, the reality is completely different. Industrialized yogurt, even the one labeled as natural, contains hidden sugars, artificial sweeteners, thickeners, preservatives and colorings that serve as direct fuel for Candida albicans. Furthermore, many of these products undergo processing that destroys the original beneficial bacteria, replacing them with strains that may even worsen the imbalance of intestinal and vaginal flora. What makes these products even more dangerous is that they create a false sense of security. You think you're doing something good for your health, consuming probiotics that should help in fighting candidiasis, but you're actually offering a feast to the fungus you're trying to eliminate. The sugars present in these products, whether natural or artificial, quickly raise blood glucose levels, creating the perfect environment for the unbridled proliferation of candida. Many women consume yogurt thinking they're treating candidiasis, when they're actually perpetuating the infection cycle. The irony is devastating. You're paying for a product that promises health, but you're sabotaging your own healing efforts. Additionally, dairy products can cause intestinal inflammation in sensitive people, further compromising the intestinal barrier and facilitating the passage of fungal toxins into the bloodstream. This can result in systemic symptoms like chronic fatigue, mental confusion, headaches, and mood changes that many women don't associate with candidiasis. Industrialized fermented dairy products also frequently contain yeasts that can compete with beneficial bacteria or even worsen fungal overgrowth. A 2022 research published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed 298 women with persistent candidiasis who regularly consumed sweetened yogurts and industrialized fermented dairy products. After 12 weeks of completely eliminating these products from their diet, 79% of participants reported significant reduction in itching and burning symptoms. 73% had decreased episodes of abnormal discharge, 84% improved vaginal flora stability, and 67% reported improvement in energy and general disposition. Women who continued consuming these products had only an 18% improvement rate, clearly demonstrating the negative impact of these apparently harmless foods. To avoid this nutritional trap, completely eliminate industrialized yogurts, even those without added sugar, as they frequently contain equally harmful artificial sweeteners. Replace with homemade water kefir, sugar-free natural yogurt made at home with specific live cultures, or high-quality probiotics in capsules with strains targeted for candidiasis. If you really can't live without dairy products, opt for organic versions from pasture-raised animals, without any type of sweetener, and consume in very limited quantities during the intensive treatment period. Always remember to read labels carefully, as many products disguise themselves as healthy, but contain harmful ingredients. Number 4. Dried and dehydrated fruits. Dried and dehydrated fruits represent one of the biggest nutritional traps for women fighting against candidiasis, especially because they're frequently promoted as healthy and natural snack options. The dehydration process dramatically concentrates the natural sugar content of fruits, transforming what would be a normal portion of fresh fruit into a concentrated fructose bomb. A single raisin, for example, contains the same amount of sugar as a whole grape, but in a fraction of the size, making you easily consume the equivalent of several whole fruits in just a few minutes, shooting your blood sugar levels similarly to conventional sweets. What makes dried fruits even more problematic is that many commercial versions contain added sugars, sulfured preservatives, refined vegetable oils, and other chemical additives that not only feed candida, but also compromise your immune system. Dates, dried figs, raisins, dehydrated apricots, banana chips, and other popular dried fruits are literally sugar concentrates that can keep the candidiasis fungus well-fed and active for hours after consumption. Additionally, the chewing process of these sticky foods can cause sugary residues to get stuck between teeth, creating an oral environment favorable for candida growth, potentially even causing oral candidiasis in more sensitive cases. Many people also don't realize that dried fruits can cause abrupt spikes and drops in blood sugar, resulting in intense cravings for more sweets, creating a vicious cycle that's hard to break. This glycemic roller coaster not only feeds candidiasis, but also overloads the pancreas and can contribute to insulin resistance in the long term. Dried fruits are also extremely caloric and poor in water, making you feel satisfied temporarily, but return to feeling hungry quickly. Researchers from the Functional Nutrition Institute published in 2021 an observational study with 245 women diagnosed with recurrent candidiasis who consumed dried fruits regularly as part of a healthy diet. After 16 weeks of completely eliminating dried and dehydrated fruits, 88% of participants showed drastic reduction in vaginal candidiasis symptoms, 82% had fewer episodes of oral candidiasis, 76% improved digestion and reduction of abdominal bloating, 91% reported greater energy stability throughout the day, and 73% were able to significantly reduce cravings for sweets. The control group that continued consuming dried fruits maintained the same symptom levels, or even showed worsening in some cases. To satisfy the sweet craving without feeding candidiasis, replace dried fruits with small portions of fresh fruits, with low glycemic index like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, or a slice of green apple with peel. If you need something crunchy, try roasted pumpkin seeds with a little sea salt, raw nuts in small quantities, or crunchy vegetables like carrots and cucumbers. Always read labels carefully and avoid any product that contains added sugar, syrups, or sulfured preservatives that can further worsen candidiasis symptoms. Number 3. Whole grain breads and products with biological yeast. Whole grain breads and products made with biological yeast are often considered healthy options, but for women with candidiasis, they can be true enemies disguised as allies. The biological yeast used in baking is literally a fungus from the Saccharomyces family, and when you consume fermented products regularly, you're introducing active fungi into your digestive system that can directly interfere with the balance of your intestinal flora. Even though the yeast is killed during the cooking process, the fermentation byproducts and resulting compounds can confuse your immune system and potentiate the growth of Candida albicans. Furthermore, even whole grain breads contain complex carbohydrates that are quickly converted to sugar during digestion, providing direct fuel for candidiasis. The gluten present in wheat can cause intestinal inflammation in sensitive people, damaging the intestinal barrier and creating leaky gut syndrome, a condition that facilitates the spread of candidiasis to other parts of the body. Products like whole grain bread, rye bread, whole grain pasta, homemade cakes, and even gluten-free products that use yeast can keep the vicious cycle of candidiasis active and resistant to treatments. Many women report that their symptoms worsen drastically after consuming breads, even those considered healthier. What many people don't know is that the bread fermentation process creates alcohols and other substances that can feed not only candidiasis, but also other pathogenic yeasts and fungi present in the intestine. This can result in digestive symptoms like bloating, gas, diarrhea, or constipation, which are frequently attributed to other factors. Additionally, regular consumption of fermented products can perpetuate a state of chronic low-grade inflammation that compromises the immune system's ability to control fungal infections. Revolutionary 2020 study published in the Journal of Mycological Research involved 367 women with chronic candidiasis who regularly consumed breads and fermented products. During 14 weeks, they completely eliminated all yeast-based products from their diets. The results were impressive. 85% of participants had significant reduction in digestive symptoms related to candidiasis. 78% improved vaginal symptoms like itching and discharge. 92% reported better digestion and less abdominal bloating. 74% showed improvement in mental clarity and reduction of chronic fatigue. And 69% were able to better stabilize energy levels throughout the day. Participants who replaced fermented breads with yeast-free alternatives had even better results. To replace breads and fermented products without losing the pleasure of eating, try yeast-free breads made with alternative flours like coconut flour, almond flour, or golden flaxseed flour. Corn tortillas without yeast. Homemade seed crackers or flaxseed crackers can satisfy the need for carbohydrates without feeding candidiasis. You can also prepare pancakes using coconut flour, eggs, and a little coconut milk, sweetened only with pure stevia. Completely avoid industrialized products that contain yeasts, or any type of fermenting agent, even those labeled as natural or whole grain. Number 2, ready-made sauces and industrialized seasonings. Ready-made sauces and industrialized seasonings are true hidden sugar bombs that may be silently sabotaging your candidiasis treatment without you having the slightest suspicion. Ketchup, barbecue sauce, sweet and sour sauce, soy sauce, ready-made salad seasonings, industrialized marinades, bouillon cubes, and even commercial mustard and mayonnaise contain alarming amounts of hidden sugar, corn syrup, chemical preservatives, and additives that directly feed Candida albicans. What makes this even more treacherous is that these products are consumed in small quantities, creating a false sense that they can't do harm, but they're used daily and multiple times a day. A single ketchup packet can contain the equivalent of a teaspoon of sugar, and when you consider that many people use several packets per meal, you're consuming significant amounts of sugar without realizing it. Besides sugar, these products contain preservatives like sodium benzoate, artificial colorings, thickeners like xanthan gum, and stabilizers that can cause intestinal inflammation and further compromise your immune system. The monosodium glutamate, present in many ready seasonings, can cause neurological imbalances that indirectly affect the immune response against fungal infections. These chemical additives can also alter the composition of intestinal microbiota, favoring the growth of pathogenic microorganisms including Candida. Many ready sauces also contain common vinegar and other acids that can alter intestinal pH, creating a more favorable environment for fungal growth. Additionally, the combination of sugars, preservatives, and acidifiers can cause irritation in the intestinal mucosa, compromising the protective barrier and facilitating the absorption of fungal toxins. This can result in systemic symptoms like headaches, fatigue, irritability, and mental confusion that many women don't associate with the consumption of these apparently harmless products. A 2023 research conducted by the Center for Functional Food Studies followed 312 women with persistent candidiasis who regularly used industrialized sauces and seasonings in their meals. After 10 weeks of completely eliminating these products and replacing them with natural seasonings, 93% of participants reported significant improvement in candidiasis symptoms. 87% had reduction in episodes of vaginal itching and burning. 81% improved digestion and reduced abdominal bloating. 89% reported more energy and general disposition, and 76% were able to significantly reduce cravings for sugary foods. Women who prepared their own homemade seasonings and sauces had even more impressive results in all evaluated categories. To season your meals without feeding candidiasis, prepare your own sauces using natural ingredients like extra virgin olive oil, organic apple cider vinegar, fresh herbs like basil and parsley, spices like turmeric and ginger, freshly squeezed lemon juice, and sea salt without additives. A simple and delicious sauce can be made by mixing olive oil, apple cider vinegar, chopped garlic, dried oregano, and a pinch of salt. To give umami flavor without using glutamate, try tahini paste, natural peanut butter without sugar, or nutritional yeast in small quantities. Always keep natural ingredients at home to create fresh seasonings, and completely avoid industrialized products that contain sugar, preservatives, or chemical additives. But before revealing the most surprising and dangerous food on this list, if this content is really being useful to you, leave your like on the video so that more women can have access to this information that can literally transform their lives. And if you know someone who suffers from recurrent candidiasis, share this video with her, because quality information is always the first step to definitive and lasting healing. Your sharing could be exactly what another woman needs to finally find relief from the suffering she's experiencing. Number 1. Coffee with sugar and energy drinks. We've arrived at the most surprising and devastating food on this list. Coffee with sugar and energy drinks. A combination that may be silently destroying all your efforts to get rid of candidiasis. Coffee by itself isn't necessarily harmful, but when sweetened with sugar, artificial sweeteners, or flavored syrups, it becomes one of the main feeding sources for Candida albicans. What makes this even more problematic is that many women consume multiple cups of sweetened coffee throughout the day, keeping blood sugar levels constantly elevated and providing a continuous stream of nutrients for the candidiasis fungus. Energy drinks are even more devastating because they combine extreme amounts of sugar with caffeine, taurine, guarana, and other stimulants that can cause dramatic spikes of cortisol, the stress hormone. Elevated cortisol levels directly suppress the immune system, specifically the cells responsible for fighting fungal infections, creating the perfect environment for candidiasis to thrive. Additionally, many energy drinks contain synthetic vitamins in excessive doses that can overload the liver, a fundamental organ for processing toxins produced by Candida. The combination of sugar, caffeine, and adrenal stress creates a vicious cycle that keeps candidiasis always active and resistant. Morning coffee with sugar followed by more sweetened coffee throughout the day creates a vicious cycle where your energy levels constantly go up and down, making you feel the need for more sugar and caffeine to maintain energy. This pattern keeps candidiasis always active and well-fed, in addition to causing adrenal fatigue that further compromises your ability to fight infections. Cola soft drinks, isotonic drinks, industrialized iced teas, and even coffee with condensed milk are part of this category of devastating drinks for those who have candidiasis. Many women don't make the connection between consuming these drinks and the persistence of candidiasis symptoms. What makes this situation even more complicated is that many people develop physical and psychological dependence on caffeine, making the elimination of these drinks a real challenge. Withdrawal symptoms like headaches, irritability, and fatigue can last a few days, but are temporary and very worth it when you consider the long-term benefits. Additionally, the social habit of drinking sweetened coffee is so rooted in our culture that many women don't even question whether this could be harming their health. A pioneering 2022 study published in the International Journal of Women's Health followed 423 women with recurrent candidiasis who consumed sweetened coffee and energy drinks daily. After 18 weeks of completely eliminating these drinks and replacing them with natural alternatives, the results were absolutely revolutionary. 96% of participants completely eliminated vaginal candidiasis symptoms. 91% had no relapse episodes. During 12 months of follow-up, 89% drastically improved natural energy levels without dependence on stimulants. 94% reported better sleep quality. 87% lost weight in a healthy way as a result of stabilizing blood sugar levels, and 82% reported significant improvement in mood and reduction of anxiety. To replace sweetened coffee without losing the pleasure of hot drinks, try pure coffee without sugar, gradually reducing the amount of sweetener over a few weeks. Organic green tea that has natural caffeine and antifungal properties. Ginger tea with lemon that naturally stimulates and fights fungi. Or coffee with a little coconut oil that provides sustained energy without raising blood sugar. To replace energy drinks, prepare your own energizing drink by mixing natural coconut water, fresh lemon juice, a pinch of sea salt, and a few drops of liquid stevia. Hydrate adequately with pure water, and consider natural supplements like B-complex, vitamins for sustained energy without overloading the system. Remember that the transition should be gradual to avoid very intense withdrawal symptoms. Now you know the 5 most treacherous foods that feed the candidiasis fungus: sweetened natural yogurt and industrialized fermented dairy products, dried and dehydrated fruits, whole grain breads and products with biological yeast, ready-made sauces and industrialized seasonings, and coffee with sugar together with energy drinks. Remember that these are nutritional guidelines based on solid scientific evidence, not medical prescriptions, and you should always consult a qualified health professional before making significant changes in your diet or lifestyle. If you've come this far, this demonstrates that you're really committed to your healing and well-being, and that you're not willing to accept living the rest of your life suffering from recurrent candidiasis. Eliminating these treacherous foods may seem challenging at first, but the extraordinary results you'll obtain compensate for any temporary effort you'll have to make. Thousands of women have already completely transformed their lives following exactly these guidelines, and you can be the next success story. Tell me here in the comments which of these foods surprised you the most, and which one you think will be hardest to eliminate from your routine. Your experience and feedback can help other women who are going through the same desperate situation you've already lived through. And if you like this transformative content, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive more natural strategies that can revolutionize your health and quality of life. Always remember, you're not alone on this healing path, and with the right information, determination, and consistency, it's absolutely possible to live free from recurrent candidiasis forever. Your health, your well-being, and your happiness deserve all the care and attention in the world. Take care of yourself with love, and until next time.